I'm fucking pissed that I lost the gimbal because, first off, and you mentioned this, like, I go on a trip 50 days in Europe, and I somehow have all my technology. I mean, yeah, down like an AirPods case or sunglasses, but the gimbal never went away. I'm in Florida for like 4 days with my family, and I already lost a $120 item. So it's like
Jack, I think you should explain to the audience first what a gimbal is.
a gimbal.
No one knows what a fucking gimbal is.
Gimbal is like the device that you see people use, and it goes like this, and the phone stays
Like
stable.
the selfie stick?
Kind of
thing?
like it's like an
Okay.
advanced selfie stick, like an
got it.
automated selfie stick.
Okay.
And that's what I wanted to use for the phone stand, but now we're using a banana, kitchen bags from Kirkland, and gallon freezer bags in the back, giving the phone a slight angle down, because you can't angle it down with nothing. So slight angle down. The speaker doesn't matter because this is the speaker,
Yep.
and hopefully the computer doesn't die, and
We're
it probably
set.
will in the middle.
No,
so
74% it said.
74% on the computer.
Yeah, we're good.
Dude, this computer dies at like 50.
All right, we'll see. All right.
We're dealing with a 7-year-old computer. But that's okay.
So, first podcast ever for myself. I've never been interviewed, and now I'm the one interviewing you.
Well, that's how welcome to my life.
This is Extra Virgin Guy Unfiltered. This is what your podcast is going to be, correct?
Potentially that's the name of it, but yeah, I'll call it that.
So let's start with the actual name, Extra Virgin Guy. How did that even come to be? And just going out there, all the questions that I am asking, I would say 90 to 95% of them, I've never gotten the answer before. As brothers, we talk every day, and we talk about different things, but sometimes you forget to ask the simple questions. So now that we're on a podcast, I'm going to ask some of the questions that viewers back home may think that I've asked before, but I genuinely have not asked these questions. So, Extra Virgin Guy, we never even spoke about you. We never even spoke about the name and how it came to be. It just kind of happened, and then suddenly, boom, you're Extra Virgin Guy, and you're on Instagram, TikTok, whatever. So, how'd it come to be?
Extra Virgin Guy, I think, if I remember correct. Okay, so before the trip, I remember I was visiting you at Ohio State, and I knew I wanted to do some sort of social media of my time. Okay, let's go back to the beginning of Europe. Before I took off for Europe, my only plans were the flight there, the flight home.
It's cooler.
Okay. The flight there, the flight home. My first week, that was the work away. And then in the middle of November, I was going to some like Italian olive oil place. Besides that, there were zero plans. So one thing that I initially knew from the start was I wanted to get my pictures on Instagram for people to see. So if I'm taking pictures daily and I'm keeping it in Dropbox for like you or my iCloud for you, dad, and mom, like then you, dad, and mom have to then send that to certain people who send it to certain people. And instead of having me sending all those pictures, it's like, okay, I'll get it on Instagram, which is the easiest platform for most people. So Instagram is like the platform. Okay, actually, before Instagram, when I was in the hotel, I remember talking with some parents, and they were like, how are you going to talk about what you're doing? And it's like, I don't want to call people and tell them all about my life every single week and them have no idea what's going on. I needed to create some sort of
I understand that. I'm talking about
yeah,
the
but
name.
not everyone does. So
The name.
okay, but like that's part of it. So I had the blog, and I kind of knew I was going to start that. Then with the blog, I wanted to have an Instagram. With the Instagram, I didn't want to make it Jack Grumberg because I think Jack Grumberg is very like personal. I don't want to be. First off, I have an Instagram named Jack Grumberg. I didn't want that to be my Instagram. I wanted to create a separate account for my time in Europe and potentially onward. So I was like, it can't be Jack Grumberg. I don't even want my name at all in there. I want it to be something else. So that was the first set. So like, okay, what is my handle name? I didn't even think about it much. Like, it kind of just... I think I was thinking olive oil guy, extra virgin, like olive oil this, olive oiler, like random fucking names. And then I don't remember. It was like 3 a.m. I woke up. I'm in like, it was my first night in the farmhouse, and like I have flies flying all over me, and just like it was one of those things that I didn't try to think of it. It just came, and I thought when I woke up in the morning, I made it olive oil guy. So I was like, so I woke up and I thought I had olive oil guy, but then I looked and it was extra virgin guy, and I started laughing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I guess that's it. And then I just like started, and people started telling me like, oh shit, it's kind of funny.
It's so funny because there's like this saying that someone in my fraternity had. It's like the nights where you don't expect to go out and you go out are the best nights. And that kind of relates to this name where you said like at 3 a.m. you randomly just said, you know, you woke up and you're like, okay, extra virgin guy.
Yeah.
And now it's a staple. Like my parents' friends, our parents' friends, back at home when they were reading your stuff, they don't call you Jack anymore. They're like extra virgin guy. Like Alan literally calls you extra virgin guy.
It's funny.
Yeah, he's not like it's not like how's your son Jack. It's like how's your son extra virgin.
It's a bit
guy?
like, but that's but adding a little comedy to something makes it.
It's a good name.
More receptive to it.
It's a good name. It's definitely.
I think I killed the handle. Well, I don't want to say like in a cocky way, but like I've done a lot of things wrong. I think the handle works.
The handle works.
It could generate. It's like getting a good domain name.
Yeah.
Except for Instagram.
No, it works. It's definitely catchy, and
there's actually an extra virgin mama on TikTok that I didn't know about, and she's actually decently well known in the industry, but she's not like. I don't find that to be funny. No offense.
No. Okay, so let's rewind a little. We're here. It's December. A year ago today, no one knew Extra Virgin Guy. No one knew Olive Oil. Everyone knew Jack Rumberg, Citigroup trader. Definitely not happy at his job, and
whether everyone, like my inner circle, everyone thinks like, oh my God, you're at Citi, you're in equity derivatives, you are killing it. Your life is amazing. You're making a fuck ton of money. You're on Wall Street. You're like, you're killing it, and that is usually the complete opposite of everyone's story on the inside. They just, most people have too big of an ego to actually share what they're really feeling. Some people fear kind of like what others may think of them because of it, and then I'm just like, I don't give a fuck, and I don't give a fuck. So like, I'm just gonna say I want to quit my job to everyone. Eventually, I'll convince myself to do it.
Yeah. So you're here in Florida. Yeah. NFTs are definitely big. We're crazy about 2022 time. Yeah. It's the end of 2021, going to 2022. NFTs are crazy. You are definitely in a different period when it comes to your job. You definitely knew that you wanted out, but you didn't know how to get out, and you didn't know what you wanted to do after. Yeah. So let's start here. December 2021, what's going on in your mind?
So going back to like March, early 2021, I had one friend that got into NFTs and was doing pretty well. And he was into NBA Top Shot, and these were things that kind of went in my head, but I never actually, not only did I not understand, but I never actually cared to like do something about it. It was just there. So I'm checking the sound waves. And I just like, and I kept seeing on the internet, NFT this, NFT that, crypto. I was buying Ethereum, buying Bitcoin, starting to believe, yada, yada. So like, I always wanted to dive in and like start trading it. Cause like, I also know as a guy at a big bank, I can't trade stocks without holding it for 30 days. Crypto, I could trade instantly. Like I could buy and sell without having to disclose. And like that to me was very attractive. And I was like, I really want to do NFTs, but it never just like, people have really big ideas. They never really do anything about it. It's the same thing with me and NFTs. Like, it was there. I just didn't do anything about it. And I was like, okay, sure. It's actually the sports betting thing, too. They also did. It was the same thing. Like, it existed. These guys did it. And I just, like, didn't really. I guess there was no reason for me to care, so I never cared. But what happened was, in December, you got COVID. And I was at my grandparents' place in New York. No.
Oh, no, we were in. Okay, got it.
For 4 days. And when I was there, I literally had nothing to do because my job was just like...
Shit.
I wasn't doing anything. Like, I could have been doing something, but I didn't want to do anything. And there was no consequences for me for doing nothing. And no one cared about me. I didn't care about them. It's like, what kind of environment is that? It was brutal. And I didn't care about the money coming in either, which is really a terrible thing. So all of that was just like, I'm not going to do anything with work. So... I started like going down the rabbit hole of watching like NFT videos and some guys on YouTube doing random shit about how I made $1 million in NFTs. Like even those, you still kind of see some scam in those videos. They still kind of give you some sort of like idea of what's going on and like how to buy an NFT. Like it was really like basic question like, how do I buy an NFT? Okay, I'm going to purchase my first NFT. And now that I purchased my first NFT, I'm going to care about NFTs more. And it's true. Like then I cared about it. And once I started caring about it, then I bought more of them. And the thing is, I never had full accountability of what I was doing. I was just assuming that my balance was like hovering around like, medium levels. And if I wanted to buy something and I didn't, like what the issue was, I would put money into Ethereum, then put money into my MetaMask. And if I missed a mint, the money was still in my MetaMask and it never felt real. It was just like, it just felt like it was there. So I got into NFTs for like, it was a good month and a half of a fucking grind. Like, Friday nights, I'm out at a bar, 11:30, and I'm texting in a Discord about like paragraphs about like an NFT debate.
Yep, I remember.
I don't know if I did it with you, but like it's true. It happened.
We were there. We were in a hotel room for 3-4 days in Delray. It was
that's
a Mecca
different.
Apes.
That was-
I bought one. You're like, I'm proud of you, Brandon. Like, you bought your first NFT.
And I was like, "You're
Whatever.
an idiot. That's like the worst project in the world." But
Idiot.
Yeah.
That by the way, that went to 0. And
well, it was disgusting. I remember when what was it? The ape. It was the monkey. What were those?
Bored Ape.
No,
No.
it was the scam monkey one, and I was
Mutant
very
Ape? Mutant Ape?
no. I was very proud that I called it was a complete scam. It was run up fully by like the bots, and there's so many scam NFT projects. It was cringe, but I was like, when I saw the scam, my mind was like, holy shit, there is so much money to make in this.
Yeah.
And it's true. There was
So-
a lot of money to make.
So you're here in December. You know, this time of the year, NFTs are popping. I'd say from December to the end of January, beginning of February, your NFTs. While on the side,
Okay, stop. The turning point, I know the question you're going to ask, I'll just answer it. So the turning point. So I was trading, and I was like, there's so much money to be made, whatever. But then I started making, like, decent-sized mistakes. But, like, even with that, I just felt that the people that were making the most money in this were the creators, not the traders. The creators just, they scammed, like, full send NFT, like, the amount of money that printed instantly of, like, full idiots was just, it was beyond I was like, what the hell? They all just made millions in a fucking second with the worst Discord, terrible marketing, and just leveraging an audience that they already built. So I'm like, okay, I'd rather be a creator, but I wouldn't scam people out of it. I would actually give them good project, and then if like say it blows up, like at least it's for good. It's something good in the world. It's not just like for some fucking full send NFT. You're gonna give access to a fucking club. Fuck that.
so
Just
I want to.
So then I was okay.
Do you want to just explain really quickly in literally 20 seconds, or if you want me to, I can. Just an example of how these creators, in this time, in this clear bubble, they'd create a project. They'd get stupid people like us to invest into this project or invest into the NFT.
No, stupider than us.
Stupider, even more stupid than us.
Maybe not than him.
Even more than me. That's saying a lot. Basically, I'll just explain it because I am definitely quicker at explaining things than you. These creators created a project. They took dumbos.
Stop. 10,000. Okay. The creator has 10,000 of these like little cards that they'll issue out to people. You're one of 10,000 that are buying it. When you buy it initially, say I sell it to you for 1 ETH, for full send it was 0.8 or 0.75, whatever it was. 0.75 ETH, you give me 0.75 ETH. So I, as a creator, make the money off the mint, less a certain fee. Gas, whatever, doesn't matter. So I get most of that money into my pocket, and then all the other 10,000 that are sold come right to me. Boom, they have money, and then everything that happens on the secondary market, Full Send took 10% of every trade. So say you sold that NFT for 1.2, Full Send gets 0.12 ETH for that sale. They generate a whole bunch of volume. It was the biggest scam in the world. But that's all NFTs. But whatever. What matters is that the idea of creating the NFT, I felt like was a much more viable form of like less risk, more reward, internally. Like I'm doing something with a purpose for other people rather than just for myself, which is what collecting NFTs is. I didn't care about myself that much. So, okay. So in January, I start like thinking different. Okay. In January, I start. Good point.
Thank you.
In January, I started thinking of like different ideas that I wanted to do from a creator standpoint, just naturally.
Yep.
And one of them was I still have 20 ideas that are in my notes. I'm just like
Same.
Actually, no. It was really December through January. I made this huge like note sheet, and then I consolidated it and ranked them in like one night in January, on a Friday night right before I went out. I remember this. I consolidated like all of them as like I gave them 5 metrics, like speed, marketing, communicate, whatever. These like metrics, and I came across like I created tiers based on like the point metrics that I gave, and they're so arbitrary, but I just made them. And then I had like 3 on top, and then like 5 below, and one of them, the top one, was olive oil NFT. So the idea of olive oil NFT came from because I was thinking everything in NFT form, like waiting for a line on a brunch, like okay, you could put NFTs up there to people.
So you're thinking of an idea that would like attract people, or to be like, oh, I'd like to join this community. Like it's not out there, I can own some of it, and then maybe it'll get me somewhere. talking about NFTs, but
It's a very important element of this if you really want to dive deep. If you want to skip and do surface level shit,
it's not service. It's not skipping. We left off NFTs.
is the origination of the project.
We
So
explained before that NFTs were booming at this time a year ago. For a month and a half, 2 months, you and I and many others fell into that craze and that idea that you can make serious money off these products, which you could have and still can. And what you wanted to do, and this is where we left off, and you can continue from here, is that you wanted to find a valuable reason for people to put in their money instead of all these scams people were starting, and they're like, hey, I'm going to create the jelly NFT, and people would be like, okay, I love jelly, whatever, blah, 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 and they would go in and put money in for no actual use and no value. And you wanted to kind of change that thought process, and you were thinking, hey, I can actually do something that has meaning, and if I hold this NFT and this fungible token, there can be value to it. So for example, and this is as far as I know we've had these conversations, a golf NFT or like a golf course NFT. So if you own this NFT, you can then show it at the tee box, and then maybe you can get a 25% discount at a course. That's an example. Quote me if I'm wrong, but you can. I believe that's an example of how you kind of wanted to change the game for NFTs. Instead of just buying something for all the hype, you wanted people to buy stuff that actually had real value. So now you could take it from here and go into where you thought olive oil could maybe have value in this world.
I want people. I'm not the one buying it. Like, I'm the one selling it. So I want to sell something that has.
Yeah, you're the creator, but you want people to buy something that has actual value instead of buying air.
Yeah, but a golf course NFT giving you a 25% discount is still just like what you're getting, like a special card. Like, nothing's actually changing. Like, you're getting a discount, sure, but like, what are they really teaching you? Like, what education are you getting from that? Like, how does that improve the golf industry? How does it bring more people in? That's where I kind of had the issue with Linkstyle, and just like, there's no real solution being created. It was just like whatever. So for me, what started this whole idea of the golf NFT, the olive oil NFT, one problem that existed was I walked into Italy. There were 50 olive oils in Italy. I had no idea what to buy. There were no resources telling me what to buy. I looked on social media, and all of them had dead social media accounts, and I'm just like, well, what do I do? In order for me to taste an olive oil, I had to buy a $40 bottle. Like, what? That's bullshit. How are these brands ever going to market themselves to someone like me if I have to buy a $40 bottle in order to taste it? I can't find that oil in restaurants. My friends don't have that oil. My parents don't buy it. Like, why? Like, what's going to happen? It actually used to be a policy that they had, like, samplings in Italy, but they took that away during COVID. So I was like, I can't buy nice olive oil. I was really struggling.
What's Italy again?
Italy. Okay, good question. Italy is a place that was started in Torino, in Italy, of basically a collection of Italian cuisine. It's like an Italian market. That's what it is.
Got it. Okay.
Italian market. Italian food market.
Okay.
They also have books in certain cities. They're all over, and it's great to have it in New York because it gives people an idea of what,
culture.
Give them like real Italian products. It's actually legit. Like, I think it's awesome.
Cool.
Great store.
Gotta get there.
But and that's kind of like what my inspiration was, because I remember seeing that and I'm just like, whoa, like, this is a cool idea, because this olive oil is not getting into people's hands. So like, I could create something that gets it into people's hands. And I said there was so much value in that. My idea was creating an NFT where you buy, like, I decide as the issuer the rarity, and with a collection of like producers, of people that are in the industry, like, we'll collectively decide, chefs, whatever it is, we'll collectively decide which olive oils are better than others, based on quality. And then through that, you'd subscribe to the club through your NFT purchase. So you buy the NFT, and then you then receive kind of dividends, or at least the option to buy certain bottles at like maybe a severely discounted price, or not one that's like a 10% off. Fuck that. That makes no difference. Like, maybe like 75% off. Like, you get like a crazy membership price. Yeah. And you will have or maybe whatever it is, doesn't matter. The mechanics are, if you have a rare NFT, you have access to the rare olive oils.
Got it.
So that gives the rare NFT value. And I thought the fact that there would be rare NFTs that got certain olive oils and common NFTs that got certain olive oils, that would create the distinction in people's heads, and it would give them the education, like, okay, the rare stuff is better than the common stuff. So then my thought was like, okay, that will give the rare one more demand in society, so then the rare one would get, like, the price would go up, people would recognize it, and maybe places start catching on. But then there were issues in that, and what happened was I kind of tabled that idea for 3 months. So January, then February, stopped with NFTs. March, and like February was like a transition month because I knew I was quitting my job. My bonus was in late January, and the bonus was a disaster because my parents were. I want to leave before my bonus. My mom's like, "You're absolutely dumb if you do that."
You were absolutely dumb for thinking that. Yes.
I wasn't dumb for thinking that. I think it was just the wrong execution. Like, I understood my justification for it, and I still actually I rationalized with it. It makes sense, but I don't think it was the proper thing to do.
This is tilted down.
Shit.
Well, at least because that was dumb as shit, and I wholeheartedly disagree with you.
But you don't understand what it's like to be in my position. I think
No, I understood. I mean, I was right next to you and how miserable you were in your day-to-day job. So it didn't matter the dollars that were being put in your bank account every other Friday.
No, it's different. It's when you have money and you're making money. There's you lose the hustle mentality, and I think I had lacked the hustle mentality completely. And that is like, it's one of the most important things if you want to build a business or really succeed in life and like create something good. You need to be able to hustle. And like if I'm not hustling at work, and I wasn't even going to start hustling because I was making money, like I couldn't turn it on from within. I needed something to basically force me to do it.
Decibels.
Yeah. I needed something to force me to start hustling. And for me, I wanted to cut my money out. I was like, it's like a drug. Like,
Yeah,
it's a drug
it's
a drug that enables you to kind of do whatever the fuck you want. You're on like you're not actually on cloud 9, but like you're on this cloud 9 of like whatever, like I don't give a fuck. I just have more money than I know what to do with. I'm going to live in New York City. I don't even spend a lot of money anyway. Like when I go out or go to a club,
Yeah,
like,
you're still watching. What
I'm
you're spending,
buying
yeah.
a beer, and like if there's a girl that wants a drink, I'm like making it difficult for her to get it because like, well, that's maybe a bad idea. And that's what
Horrible idea.
But
Horrible
that's the way I
idea.
approach it. Like they gotta earn their drink.
Okay,
they gotta earn their drink. The idea that money, and this is another thing I read in a book that Grandma gave me. Was the idea that like it's the idea of scarcity. I don't remember the exact quote that was used in the book, but it's like when you have scarce resources, you use them better, or like it's almost like if you had three shirts on this trip, you would optimally use those 3 shirts versus having 10 shirts, and you just kind of go through your shirts like they're nothing.
I understand, and we talked about that at the mall. Remember, we spoke about the value of the Lululemon brand, and I walked in there, and I went to you. I was like, dude, it's $80 a shirt. Like, I'm not buying that. That's just not happening. And you're like, well, what you're getting with Lululemon is you're getting a shirt that, first of all, looks great. It fits great on you. You're getting material that isn't used in other companies, and you can have that shirt for 2 years instead of going to Kohl's like we do, and
Buy
like
10.
my dad does,
Yeah.
and buys 25
Classic
discounted,
thinking.
and he gets it every 2 months. And it's just that same idea that
he has like 25 pairs of shoes.
he's
like
crazy.
buy one.
The other day, he was getting freaking 30 packs of gum on Amazon. There's like a discount on gum. He's like, I'm going to get 30 packs. But then, like, when we go out, he's like, oh, do you need to buy that? But then he'll go back home and he'll buy, like, 30 of his own, whatever.
That's a little different because, like, the gum quality thing, I don't think matters. I think for
not about
the
gum.
shirts is such a good
Yeah,
example.
no,
'Cause
just how
he'll buy 1,000 shirts
No,
or 1,000
yeah,
hats. It's like,
yeah.
buy just, like, one good one and,
No,
like, stick with it.
yeah, no,
You don't
just-
need to have 1,000 things.
yeah, no, of
And it's not
course.
the nice things. He doesn't want
Of course.
luxury.
Oh, no, he does not want luxury.
He prides
likes
himself in the
He likes
cheapness.
quantity. He's like, ooh, I like these New Balance $28 shoes. I'm going to get 4 tomorrow. Brandon, you want one?
When he buys, he's like, you want the $28 shoe? You want the $28 shoe? The most generous
Exactly.
$28 shoe giver of the
Exactly.
world. But like, if you want to get the $30 dish instead of the $15 dish, it's like,
Yeah.
why the fuck would you order a $30 dish? If the burger is 15, the Kobe beef burger is 30, why do you have a $30 dish? Get the burger.
So going back to like quality over quantity, you believed that even though you had, whatever, you had a lot of money. You were making really good money as
I
a
wasn't
trader.
rich.
You weren't rich. I mean, you're 23 years old. No one, unless you're starting a company or you're a managing partner somewhere.
Salary transparency.
No one's
I'm going to give salary transparency.
You don't need to give salary transparency.
I'm going to give it. Why not? We can cut this out in the future. When you come out of, it's actually changed. It's now in six figures. But if you want to go into sales and trading or investment banking, in 2020, coming out of school, $85,000 base salary bonus.
Probably like a 20 grand bonus. Probably like a 20% bonus.
No,
25%.
10 grand signing bonus, 85K base salary, and then bonus is usually between 25 and 75K. Yeah, so...
Oh, shit. I fucking picked the wrong job.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, no, but you didn't pick the wrong job. That's not true.
Of course not. I'm completely joking.
Okay, but, like, my point is, I'm living in pandemic New York City. I don't have 500K, 250K in student loan debt, thankfully. This is the way I grew up. I'm not going to hide it.
So you had money.
So, like,
you had money.
So now I'm working a year and a half, and I have money. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why is my bank account, like, crazy? So, like,
it's pretty
but I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't buying real estate. I wasn't doing anything. It was
you
like,
weren't hustling. You were not incentivized to do anything with that money.
I could have lived. I had runway for years.
The money and happiness thing, and like, what's the happy medium? Does all the money in the world bring you all the happiness, or does all the happiness in the world hopefully one day bring you?
You know
more
what I was
money?
thinking when I was making my money, right? I was like, I'm making 125K base. I could be working at a hedge fund for 300K base. Like, I could have worked at like the best hedge funds in the world. And you're looking at what they're making rather than appreciating what you're making. Now I appreciate it because I'm 9 months without a fucking dollar.
Yeah.
Like, well, not exactly true, but mostly like without a dollar. So like, it really is crazy how your perspective changes. But let's keep going.
Okay, so let's keep going. I got it.
So February I announced, and this was planned in November, but I announced I leave in February. I actually have a video. I want to pull that up. I have like a video of me saying like I'm leaving. So I am leaving as of. After I went skiing President's Day weekend to make sure my head was fully clear before I left, and I was just like, nothing changed. I was just like, all right, I'm leaving. So I call in from my dad's office in New York, and I put on my college shirt on Zoom with my boss, and I'm like, all right, I guess basically I wanted to let you know I'm resigning today. 2 weeks later, I'm out, and then about like a week later after that, because there was still like random things that I had to kind of reconcile before it was all done. I remember like I was still on the Bloomberg chat on that Monday, and I said hi to my friend, whatever, and then like Tuesday I was like cut out. I'm like, okay, that's done. So then I went skiing for like a week to clear my head, and it was great. I'm so happy to do that. Then I got back, and my mind was in this mode of like, okay, and this is something that you might not understand, but you may understand a little bit. First off, zero organizational skills myself. Like, I've tried in the past to have some sort of like, I guess like note taking, I don't know, like folders in my whatever it was, but I had no organization to anything in my life, no routines to anything. That was actually big feedback I got from my boss. He's like, you just don't have routines, like you've never had it before. And I'm like, you're right.
That's a good point.
So like there were some really big weaknesses that I discovered through trading, and I thought trading would kind of take advantage of all of the things that I was really good at. It's like, I'm good at math, I'm good at this, I'm good at that.
Yep.
Trading would be good for that. But then I think sometimes the weakness and holding me back in trading was a lack of these like basic skills that I just didn't have. And in order to hustle, it's like there was a lot of, I'm a little all over the place in general.
Team stinks.
I'm a little all over the place in general, but I needed to find like the base core set of things. So I was like, I need to create a calendar and go by the calendar. I need to work out, cook for myself, clean my room, do laundry. These are all things that were just getting completely disregarded when I was at work, because I would, wake up early. I'd work out very inconsistently. I would never cook for myself because I didn't really need to, and I was never home anyway. And like the commute was 25 minutes. I didn't want to do that at all. Doing laundry, didn't do laundry for like a year and a half. It's just like too many things that I didn't have full accountability over. And it was like taking accountability for my own life. Like, people would think if you're out of a job, like, and this is more context, like I didn't quit my job for anything. I wanted to like almost rediscover myself and give myself actually, let's go back a little bit. August 2021, I am in Austin, Texas, and Denver, Colorado for a 1 week trip. And I just remember from that trip, I had the clearest mind about what I was doing at work. I was very like,
Locked in.
no, I wasn't locked in. I was like, this is kind of who I am. Like that self that I was in that like 10-day period was very Jack. And then I go back to work and I kind of lose that. And I had like a clearer view on what my life would be ahead of like what I'm doing right now. It was like everything was clear, and I wanted to get that type of time again. So I got that time, and it was like the end of March, but I wasn't looking for a job. I was looking to like improve myself, as you could see.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
start doing these things,
Yep.
and it takes me, when I say go to the gym for an hour, it took me 3 hours to do because like I have to choose my clothing, get ready, clean my room, figure out what I'm eating in the morning, cooking it, going back to my computer, doing what I was doing. There's just like so many little things that add up that like take up a whole bunch of time that like in the beginning I had to just accept would be inefficient.
And you went from someone who was unorganized as
You'd hear in my voice. I'm not a very like, I have a lot of like thaw. I'm like, what, spacey, whatever you want to call it.
No, you're not. It's not that you're spacey. I mean, sometimes you could, I guess, be a little spacey, but you.
Let's face facts. Like,
Yeah, it's facts. I mean, a little bit, but
Yeah.
I would say that your mind does tend to travel in other places because you are a very intelligent person. But sometimes you try to think over intelligently, and then that kind of creates that space.
I don't try to over intelligent.
No, it's that's how your brain works.
Yeah.
Everyone's differently.
Well, people
Okay.
like that.
So at this time, and as a brother, my perspective is you went pre-job or during the job, or basically your whole life before
We're
quitting
gonna do
the
part
job.
two, by the way, of this.
What? We're gonna do part two. Oh, we're gonna do part 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Sure.
But your job basically told you what you didn't want to do in your life, which people say when they look back, they're like, okay, sometimes knowing what you don't want to do is more important than knowing what you want to do. But we can cut that out because
No, it's fine.
no, I know it is good. But what I really wanted to say was you went from a very unorganized person. As we said, your mind was going in a lot of directions. You didn't really like what you were doing. You were unorganized as it is. So then you quit. And one thing that really, we talked about as a family and that you were stressing is that you wanted to create some structure in your life. So you guys don't know this as viewers, but when Jack says cooking and cleaning and all that stuff, getting ready, yes, every single person in the world does that. Or for the most part, everyone lives a life and organizes. So it's not like Jack is
Not
special.
true. It's so not true.
Yeah, no,
bro.
it's not true. This is where I'm going to go. But it's not like Jack is special where like he goes through a whole day and like he does laundry and like no one else does laundry. That's not it. But what Jack was doing was he was basically creating all of the things that you do in an everyday basis and chunking them down. So like when people say go to the gym, Jack on a Sunday night would schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the exact workout that he was going to do. And he'd probably do that, I don't know, for like 2, 3, 4 weeks. So then in June, July, when you went to go work out, you're like, all right, I know what I'm going to do. And that's what you did when it came to what time you're going to do laundry, what you were going to cook. You were meal prepping. You're doing all these things. So then now you don't do them. You don't have it in
Right.
Excel.
So I wasn't
But
doing.
I just wanted to share that. Like,
No,
that's what I
it's
saw as a
a
brother.
good point. That's a good
what I saw
point.
as a brother.
Good
And
point.
that, yeah.
So like, when it comes to building things, I wanted to build it from scratch. There are a lot of platforms you could use, and like you could buy an app, and it could tell you how to diet or how to like go to the gym, lift these weights, do that. But like, and this is sometimes why I think I'm not strong or whatever. It's because like
You're not.
I want to.
But you are physical.
I always wanted. I need to know everything everything has to be perfect in order for me to get to the next level.
You're
And
meticulous.
If I feel that there's something off with my exercise, I'm just going to avoid that exercise, and eventually I avoid going to the gym because I don't want to deal with doing it the wrong way. I'd rather the form be perfect. So like with that, like I don't want to use an app, and I don't want anyone to tell me like what my workout should be. I want to create it for myself. Use YouTube, do this, and it was like building out my workout plan. It failed. Like it failed because I didn't continue it, and I'm not strong right now. I'm actually in like terrible shape right now. But those are like little failures that they were at no cost. Like I'm fine with it, and I learned from it. Like that's totally okay. And like I had all these like mini things that I was kind of doing, and some succeeded, some failed. But like the idea is,
It was the
I
overall
wanted
idea.
to do it from scratch. You're like, well, why don't you do this? Why don't someone help? Why don't you always get help? Like you need to find it from within. And it was training. That's all it was. It was all training, not just physically, but like mentally, and like actually from a work standpoint of like how to actually get shit done.
Yeah. Do you think that if
Without someone giving you direction.
Yeah, no. So I'd say like March, April were big. March, April, May-ish were big months for you in terms of like in terms of organizing your life? And
Sure.
just a lot of outside shit going on,
Yeah.
and you kind of wanted to hone in and take a deep dive into like just being organized and
Did it
structured.
become organized?
So-
I don't know about that, but
That
did
a
it? Was
loud
I
one.
trying?
Decibels are loud on that one, but it's okay.
Did it become? It's fine. Did it become organized? Not necessarily, but did I think it did? And did I
No,
put the
it
effort in?
did. It
Yeah.
did. So someone who like you wouldn't say yourself.
You, oh yeah,
maybe.
you saw
Yeah.
my
No,
routines
but
and
it's
whatever.
like it's like when you go to the gym. It's the example of if you look in the mirror every single day, you're not gonna really know the gains that you put in the gym. But if you look once a month, you'll probably know more. So like for yourself, you're not gonna be like, oh, I'm way more structured than I was, even though you are, because it's yourself. But
Yeah.
since I see you, I know that you are definitely more structured than you were at that time. Now here's my question, and this is a quick answer. If you developed the patterns that you once had after like the first 3 months that you quit, so structuring your life, having a routine, kind of having a better like balance within your head, do you think that you would have been more successful at Citigroup, or had a desire to stay?
Desire. I don't really understand the question, but I do. So I'll just answer it. First thing I want to get off my mind, food shopping. Before I get to Citigroup, I would go to the supermarket and take 25 minutes to go food shopping versus everyone else who takes 10 minutes. Why is that? Because I didn't plan beforehand. I just went and assumed that I knew what I would get. And it's the same idea as when I go to the gym. I'd start something and then just never finish, and nothing would ever get done.
Yep.
And that's the idea of like having to create that plan ahead. And that's where like I felt like I need the structure. And
George Kittle touchdown. Let's fucking go. 34-yard touchdown. We need that. Keep going.
whatever.
Sorry.
So food shopping was like I would go to the supermarket and
Yes.
I would try to like estimate in my head, but like in order to estimate the meals that you have to know like you can't just start by estimating. Like you can't just be like, oh, this is gonna work. Like you need to have it like, or at least for me, I wanted to calculate my meals for weeks on end, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, fill in them breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner, breakfast, lunch, dinner. Like that's what Tiger Woods actually. It was a motivation from him. Like he was the guy that was like,
Meal by meal.
Lived meal by meal, and like I think that's really good advice. Like even if you do one meal a day, whatever it is, like live meal by meal, and like that will give you some sort of structure, especially in a day like his where like it may have been so open ended, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like go meal by meal, and then I just calculated my meals throughout the week and kind of estimated based on the meals that I kind of gave myself. And if I had to shift my dinner from Wednesday to Thursday, great, but at least I had the structure. And then eventually I got to a point where I was able to go to the supermarket a couple months later and just be like, I could get this and this could work.
Yeah.
But you
So-
can't just assume that estimates work.
So with that supermarket example for your viewers,
City. You want to go with City?
So if you take that supermarket
Sure.
example, how do you think that would have related to your success at Citigroup, and if you wanted to stay?
No.
Okay.
I don't think if
Yeah.
you put me in the same position as I was then, I don't think I wanted it enough to try to convince everyone on my team that like I wasn't wrong in my position. Because like a lot of things that happened weren't my fault. Like I think if it was a different time and place, first off, it was different people, absolutely. Second off, like it was there were so many things that went wrong from like an organizational standpoint. Not just me. Like I'm an analyst, I make mistakes, whatever I am. But like there were so many things that were wrong on top that like led to the demise of myself within City, that if that even happened again with even my skill set, I don't think I would have even cared to like try to prove myself. Like maybe there would have been some elements that have been improved, and if I'd go back to the original position I was in, I think I would be able to learn it. But the real issue is, do I want to learn it? Like, did I want it? And I didn't want it.
Did you want it? Did you have that hunger to be?
No,
to be good?
I didn't.
Be great?
I thought I'd try. I really tried to have the hunger because
didn't
someone
have it.
told me to. There was no hunger.
No.
None. So like without the hunger, no matter what, I don't give what skill sets, whatever it is, without the hunger, you're not going to be as good as you could be. And you know, maybe if I had been trading for 15 years already, like I'm already so good it doesn't matter and whatever. That's like a lot of people in the industry. They like they've been there, they stay there, and they have a family. They can't leave at that point. I sympathize with them. I get it. Whatever. But like me, coming into the industry, my dad's a trader, so I was like, oh, I already have a trading background, but I never actually cared that much about the trading. I was like fine in it. I had the skill set, but like I never really cared. And I think the lack of ever caring and the lack of really caring about the markets, and I understand why way more now than I used to, and actually now have more interest in the markets than I think I did, but not the markets like S&P, different types of markets like commodity markets and stuff.
Very cool.
Which I thought was cool. I always thought commodity markets were cool when I was interning and stuff, but I didn't actually pursue a commodity desk because it was too niche. I wanted something a little more challenging and open-ended.
Commodities are cool. Like
They are.
someone who is, as we were talking about this last night, how I've become more ingrained into the financial markets, especially the stock market, but anything regarding the economy. You don't realize how important it is. Like people trade every kind of commodity, not just oil and gas. You're talking about
Olive oil, bro.
strawberries and blueberries, olive oil, bananas, milk, cocoa.
Bulk movement of these
Bulk
items.
movement of these items that we don't see. We look at the price of S&P 500, but there are many factors that go into the price of other things other than a stock, which is very, very cool.
These worlds that exist. That's why S&P is so hard to predict because there's so much shit that goes into it. It's like having a view on the
there
market.
is, but it's the 500 biggest. It's the 500 biggest companies in the market, and it's basically the market god telling you that if you want to make money in the long term, let's just put some recurring investments into the S&P 500, close our eyes and open it.
Right.
No one works that way, but okay, whatever. We're getting a little off topic here. So March, April, May was a big restructuring time in your life. I was at school. Jack quits his job.
I'm happy, by the way. Like,
He said he's happy.
It's not
yeah.
like I'm a depressed kid. Like,
No,
I'm
no.
very.
Yeah.
There were points during trading where I was like not happy with anything. Like,
No,
it was
yeah.
like a sad time.
Yes.
Like, I
So-
was thrilled.
So you have a big weight off your shoulders because you're like, finally, I can restart my working career, and
I didn't feel there was no weight. It was just like I was just working. Like it never stopped.
No, I'm saying once you were done with City, like that weight.
No, it wasn't weight. It was figuring out how the hell to like function on a day-to-day basis. Like I wake up, what the fuck do I do? And like creating the routines, creating the.
That was great. It really helped you. So March,
Yeah.
April, May, you're in this routine stage. You're at home. You move out. You don't move out until June, right? Or
End of July.
end of July. Okay, so you're in the apartment. I'm not home yet. March, April, May. That's a big restructuring period. Then I come home, and it's June, and in June, what do you? That's a plane. That's cool. What are you thinking in June? I don't know if you remember, but what are you thinking in that June period? I'm coming home. You're coming home a lot, like because we're just hanging out. That's what you do when you're in New York.
Yep.
We get to hang out. What are you thinking then? Like, what was it? I can't remember. Was it olive oil was the conversation then, or is like I'm going to start something? I think it was olive oil, but I don't know if you.
Yeah, I had a
remember.
fancy food conference. And I remember before the conference, like I had spoken to some people in the industry about olive oil, and it was like, yeah, it's a really hard industry. Like it's difficult. And I remember I was talking to people on the phone. And I was writing down every single thing that was said on that phone call, like to a T. It had to be written down. Of course, not important at all. But it was like the principle of it. I didn't know better. Great. And I thought like I would learn about the industry through that. But like it wasn't those conversations. When someone says that it's difficult to do, that means that's like a validation, like you should do this, because if people are saying it's difficult, then most people aren't going to do it. And if you do it successfully, you're probably going to like really succeed.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, great. Like that's what I want to hear. Thank you very much. But we actually skipped the beginning of this. So in April was when olive oil started. April like 15th, I think was the first day in my OneNote. I remember I went to a WeWork. And I joined WeWork in April because I needed to. So one thing that changed is when I was working from home in my apartment, like
There's no productivity.
it's not that though. It's too basic of a statement. My environment wasn't changing as much, and there was never a reason for me to go to a Starbucks and start working there because I had a better setup at home. But if I pay for WeWork, $250 a month,
You need to go.
I have to go. I got to use it.
Yep.
Common sense. So I started going to WeWork, and maybe even there were weeks where it was just like once a week, but I still went, even if it was for 3 hours, and it was a good change of environment. I needed to get out of my apartment, out of my room, and it allowed me to kind of change my headspace and start working on something else versus the other shit that I was working on. Because I could have gone endless loops of like I was learning some like HTML at the time because I was thinking like, oh, I should learn coding languages better. I was learning some Solidity and Python, whatever it was. I was just fucking around trying to like pick up my skill set because I was like, well, if I have this time, I want to improve my skills for then when I eventually maybe go back into the workforce or I want to start something, I'll have the skills. It didn't matter. It was stupid. But eventually I segment my time into like I was like, okay, I need to start researching some of these ideas. And like once I opened up the door to the idea of olive oil and I like did some research like immediately of like wine versus olive oil, Veblen goods. Like these are the concepts that I was thinking. It just started clicking like right away. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's different. Why is it like this? Like I was like, whoa. There were a lot of woes in my head, and I was like, well, the current brands are not tackling this issue. There are similar type of products that are out there that are way more well known because of there are so many deep reasons behind this, and I kept trying to discover like what's going on. Why is a market like this? Why it was really wine versus olive oil. A simple Google search of like the reading the olive oil. Okay, I think it started with reading the olive oil Wikipedia, then reading the wine Wikipedia, drawing a whole bunch of comparisons, and I'm just like, why the fuck does everyone care about wine and no one cares about olive oil? Like, there needs to. Yeah, well, I don't care if
wine does get me fucking hammered if I have a bottle and change.
I agree, like, but truffles don't get you hammered, but people jerk off to truffles all the time. Like, if there's truffle in anything, it's like, oh, I'll buy it. Like, that's what Truff took advantage of, and, like, kudos to them. They did a great job with that, and they are great at marketing, but, like, and by the way, it's not even, like, I don't even know if it's real truffles in there, it's just, like, the truffle essence, but, like, the fact that it even says truffle, it gives people the idea, like, oh my god, that's amazing, I'll pay a lot for it.
Got it.
So, like, it's not just about getting you drunk, there are other elements to it. It's, like, the perception of rarity. But like olive oil, I mean, these are things that I didn't understand at the time, and I couldn't have understood at the time through the internet. These are things that I've learned throughout the past like 8 months of research. And you could say I could have made it way more simpler myself and just like started buying and selling olive oil right away, hustling it, but I didn't feel the need to do that. There were points of time where I wanted to, and things just weren't there yet. So I just like kept delaying, pushing it back, whatever. But like now at a point where I'm like actually comfortable launching a brand, and I didn't need to sell anything yet. Like I haven't sold a thing. It's now the end of December. That was April when I was doing like an hour of research every other day. Then it turned into like, 3 hours of research, and then a phone call, and then like reaching out and going. And I think right away, like that weekend, I remember going to like.
Which weekend was this?
April like 18th or something. I went to like maybe 10 different places in New York City and just investigated all the olive oils, took pictures of every single bottle on the shelf, and just started like just researching. Like
and this was your
looking
hustle.
at hustle. For example, one thing that I observed was I went to Murray's Cheese, which is a place in New York City. They had 10 olive oils on the shelf. I asked to try an olive oil. They said there's none to try. I'm like what do you mean? There was only one, and they actually had a salad bar in the front where they do cheese samples, all the cheeses. They have a salad bar in the front where they have one olive oil that they use with the salad. They sell 10 olive oils, and actually and this is the part that kind of spooked me a little. I was like, in the back, they were saying that they had all 10 olive oils, and all the employees kind of stuck it in, and they would try them because they loved tasting it. But customers couldn't taste those oils, and I'm just like, people do like the oils. Like there is a secret admiration towards it. It's just not cool in society. So people, and they're not giving it to people, so no one cares. There were, I don't know, whatever issues that it was just one little thing. I was like, they're trying the oils in the back and liking it, but people don't know about this. Like there is some disconnect, and I found things like that in different stores, and I was just like, okay, whatever. I noted all those down, compartmentalized in my notes, never looked at it again. And then in June, there was a conference called the Fancy Food Show that I heard about on the internet in like early May. And I knew I wanted to go to a food conference to kind of learn about this stuff, meat producers, whatever it is. And then I was recommended by a restaurant owner that I was able to get into the Fancy Food Conference working with. Thank you very much, Martin. That was, and I may have to cut that down, I don't know. But that was like...
That really propelled your interest and...
The food show was like... I remember like doing that food show for 3 days.
You were in at that point.
I loved the industry at that point because like I'm someone who my whole life went to Costco and just got infinite samples there. Would go to like the mall food court and try to get all the samples because I love sampling things and tasting things.
We're brothers. The same exact shit for me. I mean, if you get at my friends, I go to Costco sometimes just to have the crab salad.
Yeah, and you're not the only one, but like the food shows, like you pay $100 to get in. I actually paid more to get like some random fucking seminars, which is stupid. But like you pay $100 to get in. And you have unlimited samples from direct producers from every single country. So, like, you could get whatever the hell you want from a food standpoint for free for 3 days. I went 3 days without any other meals besides what I ate at the food show. I just went to the food show from 10 to 4, and didn't eat the rest of the day. And then I woke up the next morning and did the same thing. I did it 3 days in a row.
Yep.
And it was so much fun. I loved it. And I loved meeting the people there. I tried probably over 100 olive oils. Like, I was balls to the wall, like, grinding. And I remember, like, then 2 days later, it was like getting all my fucking gazillion business cards, like getting all that on Excel. And that was awesome that I did that, because I reference that Excel all the time now.
But that also goes back, doing that also goes back to you in March being like, okay, I need organization and structure in my life. And it was those little intricacies that you did beforehand, going food shopping, knowing what day of the week I'm going to work out and what kind of workout it's going to be. Now in June, you're getting all this, influx of information. You're like, okay, first thing I'm going to do is put it in Excel.
I think I had that already. But I guess the grind to actually doing it, that it was like actually getting that done and like plowing through the fucking bullshit and like just focusing. Like, I have 50 business cards. I have to get this in Excel, and I'm gonna do it as quick as possible. And I did it. Whatever it was, did it. So that was such a headache. I was like, wow, one day, like, I'm gonna have someone do this for me. It's gonna feel great.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
we still gotta get there.
Today is not that day.
Today's not that day.
I'm way far from that.
Who knows when that day is?
But I just got, and that's when like it started kicking in. I was starting to get pissed off at like the popular olive oil companies. Like, I just like started like feeling that whole like, oh man, like it's kind of that like competitive feeling that you get. You're like, these companies fucking stink. I hate them. Like, I would never show it, but like I was just in this like mode of, it was starting to be a little competitive against like what existed in the world. And like those things, I think once you have that drive, like I never cared about what went on at the Morgan Stanley equity derivatives desk. I didn't care if we were number 5 or 4, but like I was like, oh, these companies, I hate them all. I thought they were doing the wrong thing. Some of the producers are great, but the companies that were like the private labels, I didn't like them. I still don't like them.
What about them didn't you like? Like what was like, oh, like
they're promoting
you're not
wrong,
a good brand.
They're not promoting the right thing. They're not teaching people. They're trying to make as much money as possible, and that's it. It's all money game. And this has all been verified through producers, through all my conversations, through what I see on social media, everything. It's all about the money.
So to my understanding,
they all have big investments, or all over 500K invested, and that could be small, but like they have money and they use that money in order to like, do whatever the fuck they want, market to influencers, whatever.
Take Brightland. Okay, Brightland.
I'm not talking about brands.
Okay, fine. Talk about random olive oil brand X. Okay, hold on. They make a lot of money. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that they make a lot of money. It's not true. It's not public information.
Any olive oil company that is very successful, that sells out, that sells
their
good
product is there.
Okay.
They have a lot of followers on Instagram.
They have a lot of followers on Instagram. It's not sure. It's real. They have a lot of followers on Instagram. People buy their product. They use it to cook, and they use it to drizzle on their broccoli, and they use it to dip in their bread, and they also make a lot of money. So what?
Not necessarily true.
Okay, so if there is an olive oil brand, whatever. This is what we're dealing with.
It's true though. Am I wrong?
Well, we need the explanation. They're making a lot of money.
Stop saying that, because it's not necessarily true.
One of these companies are making money.
You don't know this.
Okay.
How do you know this?
Okay.
Bro, most olive oil companies are like not doing well right now. Like,
Okay.
Not true.
Let's just take a good olive oil company. Maybe it's not that good for you, but it's an olive oil company.
It's making a lot of money. Sure, it exists. It has to.
Fine. Okay. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Jesus.
See, I hate them. Not you.
Exactly.
I hate the companies.
The companies. I still need to know the reason why. Like,
why are they making
money? So
what?
They're not educating. Like, I eat a Lifesaver. I'm not getting educated on what that's doing for me.
Right.
I just like the taste. It's
why
a successful company.
Why are they successful? What are they doing? They're taking advantage of the fact that people don't know anything in America.
So what's so bad about that? It's not killing them. Olive oil is good for you. So what's so bad about the fact that they're making money, their product comes off the shelves quickly, and yeah, I mean that's the name of the game. You build a company to make money. So what's so bad about their products?
It's not necessarily bad.
What's shit about it?
No, it's not necessarily shit. It could be way better, and they choose to go the cheaper, easier route and trying to say that their product's the best. Our product's the best. For reason X, Y, and Z.
It's great branding.
I think it's stupid. Like, I think it's good short-term branding. I think long-term, you're going to get fucked by a better product. Like, you're not positioning yourself well in the long term. Like, you're not creating a healthy, sustainable business. You're just saying that we're the best because X, Y, and Z, and not discounting, like, not, like, actually taking into account, like, the fact that someone could just come in and soup all your customers in like an instant because of the current market. Like the current market's so influencer dominant. Like if I became big enough and I was so successful, I could take all their influencers and just pay them and be like, yeah, like come to me, like fuck them, like you don't like just I'll pay you more than they do.
It's hard to
Share
get
my product.
It's hard to get to that
Of
point.
course, but like if money could buy that, like I want to create a company that's almost indestructible. Like it's because it's not dependent on influencers. It's not dependent on like because influencers are fake. They're not actually educating you. They're being paid to tell you that this product.
They're selling.
They're being paid to sell like a product they know nothing about. They're just giving you. It's a whole social media scheme that bothers me.
But
I want to create something more
you're falling
indestructible.
into that social media scheme. We're making
No,
podcasts. We're
different.
making TikToks.
Different. These companies aren't doing that. They're no. This is our own. I'm becoming or at least showing the journey of becoming an olive oil influencer to influence my own product versus paying other influencers that have already built their own brands, just paying them money to tell their audience that your product's good.
Okay.
For me, it's like I'm building an audience then telling them my product's good.
That's fair. So
Which exists. Like Swoglini did something like this. They have a podcast. They talked about their journey of how they created it and how they created like this whole cool noodle. Mine's a little different with what I'm doing, but like it's that kind of concept. You're actually creating in-house content.
So what's gonna be in the Palloncino olive oil that isn't in the regular olive oil that I guess people are getting scammed on, or what is it
it's
necessarily?
nothing in the oil. It's the oil itself. Like
what does that mean?
It's olive oil. Brandon, where does olive oil come from?
Olives
Okay, so how are olives grown?
in a tree.
On trees. Who owns those trees? Farmers or producers, whatever
Sure.
it is, they're owned. So you could, and I gave this example to Papa earlier. There are a lot of things, but basically those olives have to be treated a certain way. The way that those olives get crushed happens a certain way. Like how many farmers there are that own different lines of olives versus like one farmer that owns a whole bunch of olives. Like there's so many factors that go into like the quality of the olive oil. And for me, my whole theory is like I want to find the best quality olive oil and give that to the customer, and like teach them that why this is the good olive oil, and not just say that it's the best because it's from Greece or say that it's the best because it's Piqual. Like I want to say just because the varietal's the best. Like fuck that. It's just not true. There's so many different varietals out there. It's like saying the Cabernet, like it's like saying a Merlot is the best grape. Some people might think it's the worst, but it's not. There's no best. They're different good grapes for different certain situations with different dishes with different flavors, whatever it is. Like same thing in olive oil. Different. There's no one best country. There are maybe better producing regions than others. If you grew olives in New York, you're gonna not survive in New York. And there are certain regions that produce naturally like. They are more resistant to certain climates, whatever it is, and they produce maybe better olive oil in certain years. But like, I don't remember what I was saying.
Well, that's good. Going back to wine, you were saying how where olives have grown, you want to create kind of like the most valuable product in terms of like the best olives that are that could be grown possible, creating that into the best oil, creating that into the best product, and educating people that what you're going to be consuming into your body is not only the healthiest, but it's the best for you in many ways.
Is there a light here?
Yeah, somewhere.
Turn it on. Is there a light to turn on? Nice.
Oh my God, Jack.
What?
Oh my God, George Kittle has 27 points in fantasy.
Congratulations.
2 touchdowns.
Congratulations. Thought he sucked.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay. So going back to the whole, other brands are shit thing. Okay.
Doesn't matter. It'll get cut out.
That should get cut out. But
Well, of course.
it will get
I'm
cut
just
out.
talking.
But this I don't want to get cut out. The wine versus olive oil idea. And as I see it, there are grapes that are fermented differently and more valuable, and which makes a wine better to have, or more valuable, or more expensive.
That's how much I know about wine as well. Just saying.
but that's like the idea that you know what I mean.
No, but it's fine. Just
Okay.
let's assume it's right. Sure.
Are you basically saying that the way that wine is priced is very different than the way olive oil is priced right now, and you're trying to intercept the market and finally create a brand that actually demonstrates value in a market. Where right now, olive oil, if the bottle looks
too many
pretty,
words. Okay, stop. When you go to a store and you're buying wine, how about this? There are so many examples of just like, bro, you go to buy a bottle of wine, you'd spend $25 on a bottle, whatever. Like, it's nothing. You could use it once, have it with a friend, and that's it. You go to a restaurant, you get a glass of wine for $14. Like,
Yep.
a glass. That's like 1/4 of the bottle, which is then worth, what? $42, $56 for the bottle in a restaurant. Or actually, really more like $70.
Probably like $21 wholesale or something like that.
Whatever it is, but like it's that much value for like what 4 servings of wine, but like for olive oil,
It's cold.
people and like okay, sorry, more examples like in wine. If you're going wine shopping, you don't want to get Franzia. No one will buy Franzia. Like maybe for your fraternity party because it's like you're just gonna supply it in bulk, but like you're gonna want to buy at least a level up, like something. Be a $15 bottle of wine, but like you're not going for the dirt cheap. But
No.
in olive oil,
You're going for the dirt cheap.
you go for the cheapest thing. That's extra virgin.
Not
Common sense.
Not extra virgin guy. Extra virgin.
You go for the cheapest product. So like, it's different than wine because people are going for the cheapest product versus maybe one that might be a little more expensive, but like is a good quality. Like I'll look on Vivino and try to get like that 4.2 that is maybe $20.
Yeah.
Versus like, you know, the $14 like cheapest bottle because I want to get something that's a little decent quality.
Do you know how much time we have, by the way? I'm saying I want to get into stuff. I think we may want to cut off now.
20 minutes. You go to
I-
6:30.
I'd rather cut off now, kind of relax, and then shower, because tomorrow we can do the same things, be 50 degrees. And there are a lot of things that I want to talk about that we haven't talked about.
Can we do 10 more minutes?
We don't need to. We don't need to. But because 10 more minutes, I don't want to keep rambling on about something and be like, all right, let's get cut off.
No,
We're-
10 minutes is enough time. These aren't
I kind of need to pee too.
good first day.
Good first day. This is part
Thank
one.
you very much.